So a seismic shift in the world of artificial intelligence is shaking up global tech markets. The release of DeepSeek, a low-cost AI model from China, has taken the industry by storm, sparking a stock market sell-off and leaving US tech giants reeling. But what makes DeepSeek different and why is it causing such a stir? Let's dive in.
A week after its launch in the United States, DeepSeek's AI-powered chatbot has become the most downloaded free app on Apple Store. Developed by the Hangzhou-based startup, DeepSeek is gaining global attention for its advanced features and affordability. The app's sudden popularity, coupled with its cost efficiency, sent shockwaves through the financial markets. Nvidia, a key supplier of chips powering AI models, saw its stock plummet 17%, wiping out over $590 billion in market value. The Nasdaq Composite fell 3.1%, while the S&P 500 slid 1.5%, reversing last week's record highs. DeepSeek's efficiency comes at a fraction of the cost of US-based AI models. Its R1 model is reportedly 20 to 50 times cheaper than OpenAI's comparable models, which has raised concerns about the competitiveness of US investments in AI, including the recently announced $500 billion Stargate initiative by President Donald Trump.
The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser-focused on competing to win because we have the greatest scientists in the world. So I would say that's a positive. That could be very much a positive development. So instead of spending billions and billions, you'll spend less and you'll come up with, hopefully, the same solution.
But there are lots of AI models out there from OpenAI, Google, Meta, and others. So what's the big deal with DeepSeek? DeepSeek is designed to be affordable, transparent, and accessible. Unlike existing models, it allows users to run AI locally on their own devices, bypassing reliance on expensive servers. Its chatbot even articulates its reasoning before providing responses, distinguishing it from competitors like ChatGPT. Despite its rapid success, DeepSeek faces challenges. Social media users have highlighted censorship issues in the chatbot, particularly regarding sensitive topics about China. While this may hinder its global adoption, the Chinese government's support for AI development could fuel further advancements. DeepSeek's rise has already rattled US markets. Analysts warn that low-cost Chinese alternatives could disrupt the AI ecosystem, forcing companies to rethink their strategies. Hardware manufacturers and chip makers essential to AI's supply chain may feel the squeeze as the competitive landscape shifts. DeepSeek's reliance on older, less powerful hardware poses a long-term hurdle. To compete with US giants like OpenAI and Google, it might need to close the commute gap, something that could become increasingly tough under the current US export restrictions. As the global AI race heats up, one thing is clear. DeepSeek has set a new benchmark for accessibility and efficiency, challenging the dominance of US tech giants and reshaping the future of artificial intelligence. But whether it can sustain its momentum in the face of political and technological challenges remains to be seen. Bureau Report, DD India.
Subimal Bhattacharjee, IT and technology expert, joins us on the story now. Welcome, sir, to the program. So before we take up the other implications of the emergence of DeepSeek, your view on the rout in the Nasdaq Composite Index, which largely reflects the movement of tech stocks and which slumped 3% yesterday, led by a 17% fall in Nvidia. Also a word on the dumping of tech stocks globally.
Yeah, I think, Tanvi, this is quite a interesting moment because you see that a disruptor has suddenly emerged on the same day that Donald Trump took over as the president of the US. And in that particular week, he announced a $500 billion effort around generative AI. Now, here is one Chinese company set up by a youngster just 2 years back coming up with one of those foundational model which is able to disrupt everything because it promises that it's more transparent, it's openness. And here, the whole world is now talking for the last couple of years about responsible AI, and how do you look at the bias, how to handle the algorithms, all of that stuff. So I think the impact on the stock markets, on the hardware stock, and the high performance computing, the chips, all of that allows such kind of processing to happen, that allows the large language models to operate. I think they all have seen a crash. I think it is still too early to think that bubble kind of a thing around AI has come, but definitely the benchmarks are going to change, and hopefully, from a consumer's perspective, if they are able to get cheaper models to work on, and get their answers and responses, I think that's a better sign. But for now, for some time, there's definitely going to be disruption. We have the uh, Action AI Summit in Paris, which the French government is hosting, and our Prime Minister is the co-host. I think that's going to be a lot of discussion around how do you look at this space, and what all still more disruptive could be seen in the near future.
Okay. What does DeepSeek's emergence do to the leadership of the United States in the AI field? And also, how is the US government and also the US AI companies like NVIDIA likely to respond to the very serious challenges posed by DeepSeek here?
Well, very interestingly, NVIDIA has come out with a very supportive statement saying, that what they have done, they have built on, the base models, and so that's a good science, and it helps the industry. But if you look at the larger perspective, where a big number of, US tech companies are investing heavily in this area, I think for them it's a big wake-up call to look at it, as President Trump himself said yesterday. So there is a worry, there is this flux that has already started. The markets are one thing that is visible, but behind in the tech industry leadership and the community, the fact of the matter that DeepSeek could do something at almost 100 the cost and all. This is the worrying part, because it rattles a lot of investments that are now going in the generative artificial intelligence and the large language models per se, which also brings Tanvi to the point of that the geopolitics that has been emerging around the tech ecosystem, where America has been denying Chinese technology, right since President Biden brought in the CHIPS Act 3 years back. So this again is going on in a direction.
Yeah, so
where
what does it mean for China economically? Does it shift back the pendulum to China? And also tell us what it means for the rest of the world in terms of the AI industry.
Well, for China, I think there are sometimes you have to see that an opportunity has come, a challenge has come, so they are trying to make advantage, or trying to build up on their engineering talents and the rare art materials, and also they might themselves find ways and means to advance their chip ecosystem. And for other countries also, this is a kind of a wake-up call to think that the reliance on these large language models, the artificial intelligence models, to be able to help in various deliveries, the force multiplier impact that today this promises. But if you are dependent upon the LLMs of companies, that tomorrow could switch off or turn off, or you getting into the geopolitical tangle in this, for that we need all to build up our own LLMs, particularly for India's perspective. I would think that one of the biggest mention or the lesson here is to see that we go faster and build up our own large language models. We have the talents available. We have the policy direction from the government. It's looking very much at the high performance computing side, the semiconductor chips manufacturing the country. So beyond that, with the focus on artificial intelligence, I think we have to look at our own large language models very quickly.
Fair enough. Very quickly, sir, are there any implications for security for both persons and nations that use DeepSeek about sensitive data becoming accessible to Chinese AI and software companies?
Well, this always remains a concern, because you still do not know, where all the data that is being collected, gathered, or even generated are getting stored. But since this is a model that is trained on available data, so I don't think it's becoming a newer challenge. The existing challenge that remains, that is what possibly is getting dissipated in a little bit different fashion.
Okay. For now, it has disrupted markets, and one needs to see how games, the rules of the game will be rewritten, as you say. Thank you very much, Subimal Bhattacharjee, for joining us on TD India News Hour.